So I think most of the football world is feeling pretty disgusted with the Colts fan base, but we've got to remember it wasn't all the Colts fans. There are people out there like this, tons of them. And if any of you guys are watching the video, I just want you to know that any disparaging comments I make towards Colts fans, I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to these idiots. Let's go. So the Webster Dictionary defines the word athlete as a person who is trained or skilled in exercises, sports, or games requiring physical strength, agility, or stamina. Now I realize that's a long definition, but if you just go right back to the beginning of it, a person, bro, a damn person first. But the cats that booed Andrew Luck last night, they don't seem to understand that. Andrew Luck was forced to retire after a career derailed by a bevy of really serious injuries. And after announcing his retirement during probably the last time that he would be out on the field in a place that he laid it all on the line for, only some of his garbage fans decided to send him off into a retirement forced by chronic injury with a barrage of boos.
Season win behind an excellent defensive performance, a strong third quarter offensively from Tyler Bray and company, and now you're starting to hear the reaction of some of the fans. It almost, Jimmy, it sounds like some of these fans are booing as Andrew Luck starts to head back towards the locker room here.
This literally broke my heart, bro. As a 31-year-old man, these ain't words that I use ever, but it's the only words I can use to describe how I felt watching that scene. These people only cared about Andrew Luck, the quarterback, had no empathy, love, or compassion or appreciation for Andrew Luck, the man. And then they were saying stuff like, well, he could have finished the year out. Bruh, he rehabbed all the way back. He at the beginning of the season. You don't think his intent was to play this season? His body has betrayed him. He cannot do it. He knows he physically and mentally cannot do it, and that the team is gonna be better off without him, maybe getting in 1 or 2 games this year before he's completely done. Also, if you think about it, he really did y'all a favor. He didn't try to hang around for the year to collect the check. He just went on ahead and got out the way so that the team could move on. But short-sighted people don't even see that. Because of the fact that he retired, the Colts can recoup $25 million back from him. I don't think they're going to, but they can. So he wasn't just trying to stick around to collect the check, and this is how he was treated.
Hey, until they walk in that man's shoes and what he's been dealing with, he's done a lot of great things here in Indianapolis. Obviously,
Cue the Wayne. Andrew Luck was born into football. His dad, Oliver Luck, was a former quarterback himself. He's also the current commissioner for the new XFL, and dude used to work for the NCAA. Andrew came up in the ultra-competitive Texas football culture, and he thrived in that environment. And not only did he thrive athletically, this man was co-valedictorian of his high school class. As most of y'all know, he played his college ball at Stanford, a place where he had to deal with rigorous academic challenges that come with playing at that school. Being a student athlete is hard. Hell, it can be downright brutal keeping that schedule. Waking up before the sun comes up for workouts, rushing to class, staying focused all day, football meetings, then practice. It never stops. Your schedule is filled to the brim nearly every single day. And that's a regular school. We talking Stanford. And he plays quarterback. So there's even more information he's got to process, even more responsibility that you're going to have, obviously, when you're playing that position. That in itself shows you that this cat can endure a lot. He never tried to take the easy way out. He went to a place that would challenge him academically and on the football field with the type of offense that they run. In 2009, Andrew Luck became the first freshman to be named the starting quarterback for Stanford since 1996. He went on to lead the Pac-12 in quarterback efficiency as a freshman, gaining just under 3,000 yards on the season. And unlike a lot of players that end up retiring early due to recurring injuries, Andrew never had an extensive injury history in college. He had surgery on his finger after his freshman season, but that was pretty much it as far as serious injuries during his college career. Now, I noticed that he wore a knee brace on his right knee during college, but I couldn't find an injury there. So I'll have to assume that this was just a preventative measure. After the finger surgery as a freshman, Andrew bounced back and became an all-time great at the Story School, going 12-1 and 11-2 in his next 2 seasons. He set new records at Stanford for completion percentage, completing 70% of his passes, and he's not playing in one of those super QB friendly college offenses. Stanford uses a ton of pro concepts in their offense and they run the ball a ton. Despite that, Andrew finished his career with over 9,000 passing yards, 82 touchdowns, only 22 picks, and he still rushed for just under 1,000 yards and 7 additional touchdowns in 3 seasons. He racked up awards like the Maxwell, Walter Camp, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, and of course, because it's Andrew Luck, Academic All-American. The biggest award, however, eluded him. The Heisman Trophy. He finished as the runner-up to RG3. And of course, their careers would forever be intertwined, finishing 1 and 2 in the Heisman, going 1 and 2 in the draft, and then both having major injury issues after getting to the NFL. Of course, RG3 started in college, but it really sucks that neither of these guys was ever able to live up to their potential, largely due to injury. Following Andrew Luck's 2010 sophomore season, he was already ranked as the #1 quarterback had he decided to enter the NFL draft. He instead decided to stay, and like I always say, little to no upside. In this case, he thankfully didn't end up getting injured, but he did end up being drafted to the team whose fans would boo him after he had to retire due to injury. So, you know, there you go. In 2012, he was drafted #1 overall with RG3 going 2. And I vividly remember I was selling TVs at the time, and I swear I damn near lost friends behind adamantly insisting that Andrew Luck would have a better NFL career than RG3. I'll admit in my circles, this was not a popular opinion, but if you actually watch football, this wasn't a controversial statement at all. Now, the Colts have kind of developed a pattern of not treating their ex-quarterbacks the best once they can no longer physically perform. A lot of people felt Jim Irsay was taking shots at Peyton Manning back when they got rid of him, publicly throwing shade about the fact that Peyton only won 1 Super Bowl when Brady had 3 and other teams had multiple. I understand you feeling that way, but like publicly from the owner, come on, man. How you gonna do Peyton like that after he carried that team for years? I'm not saying there was no other good players on the team. Obviously there were, but without Peyton Manning, y'all would have never been in none of them situations in the first place. For example, in 2011, when Peyton went down with a neck injury, a team that had won the AFC South 7 of the last 8 years, all of a sudden went 2-14. Well, some people might just say, you're reading too much into that, the team was tanking. Maybe, but if they was tanking, why did the coach and the GM get fired after that year? Is it possible that Irsay told them they was tanking and then still fired them at the end of the season? Yeah, that's a possibility. That is a possibility. But it's also a possibility that they were not tanking and that he was pissed off because they went 2-14. Regardless, he was blessed with the ultimate pro in Peyton Manning, who went out the right way, and then another ultimate pro, like the consummate professional, Andrew Luck, coming in. I mean, what great fortune. Speaking of great fortune, if the Colts end up spiraling out of control after this Andrew Luck thing and get Trevor Lawrence, bro, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I'm gonna be so angry. I just didn't appreciate the way they treated 2 of the most stand-up guys I've ever watched in the NFL. Anyway, Andrew Luck comes in, rookie season, team goes from 2-14 to 11-5, makes the playoffs. The following year, makes the playoffs again, beats the Chiefs in a shootout in the wild card round, moves on, loses in the divisional round to the Patriots. Okay, but that's improvement, right? The next year, 2014, makes the playoffs again, beats my team in the first round, beat the Broncos in the divisional round, make it to the conference championship. That's 3 years in a row. They made it further every year, and Andrew Luck was a Pro Bowler every single one of those years. 2015, though, is when the trouble started. See, the Colts were never able to figure out the offensive line. They never got it done. They never protected Andrew Luck, and he took hit after hit after hit, year after year. Then in 2015, when Andrew started getting hurt, it's like he never stopped. During that 2015 season, he was knocked out of a game versus the Titans and missed 2 weeks recovering from a sprained shoulder. He came back, but only a few months later, he suffered a much more serious injury, a lacerated kidney. This is a literal tear in your kidney, bro. It causes crazy pain, causes urine to leak where it should not be in your body, and when Andrew woke up the next day, he's urinating blood. This is real. At the same time, he tore an abdominal muscle. That's one of those injuries that can affect something as simple as sitting up in your bed. But Andrew is a G. He fought back. 2016, he's back on the field. Unfortunately, he ended up tearing cartilage in his shoulder. And this wasn't really addressed initially. Matter of fact, it was brushed off by the GM. He was quoted saying this: "No, he's all good. I mean, the guy's thrown a zillion balls. The media's seen it. There isn't some type of chronic shoulder injury or anything like that. I promise." That's what Jim Irsay said. He went on to say, "There's no surgeries planned. He's fine. And the shoulder is something that'll just disappear into the woodwork when he wins that next MVP or wins the Super Bowl." Turns out, to nobody's surprise, it was serious. And Andrew played with chronic pain throughout that 2016 season. And it's literally reported that he just used numbing injections to get through the year. We all know that's not good for your body overall, and as far as the injury goes, it's just a band-aid. It doesn't actually solve the issue. So anyway, he out there toughing it out, doped up, playing with a busted shoulder, and just to make matters worse, he's still getting knocked all over the place and ends up also suffering a concussion. The following year, that shoulder that they put a band-aid on, knowing full well it was serious, oh yeah, band-aid wasn't working no more. He had to have surgery to repair serious damage to his labrum. But despite all of that, he still went out there every Sunday, put it on the line, still played with it, and still played his heart out, man. Once he got the surgery, he ended up missing the entire 2017 season. Every day just rehabbing and trying to relearn mechanics that he'd already mastered, all in hopes that he could just get back to the point where he was before, but he can do it at a high level, pain-free. During that period, Andrew Luck didn't play real football for 585 days. Probably 585 of the longest days of dude's life. So after missing all of that time, he comes back and he throws for 4,500 yards and 39 touchdowns, and once again leads the Colts to a playoff victory before falling to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs the following week. He won Comeback Player of the Year, and it seemed that his career was back on track up until March of this year, 2019. It's reported that he's dealing with pain in his leg. Diagnosed initially as a calf strain that then turned into Achilles concerns that then ended up being something going on with a high ankle. The truth is they still can't seem to figure out exactly what it is, and as recently as last week, he was still having hella pain in his leg when he tried to move laterally. Imagine trying to be effective in the pocket when that's the case. At this point, Andrew's body is betraying him at every turn, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be using those numbing injections for the entire season again, just to finish the season and have surgery again. This is a guy who haven't been able to play pain-free football since 2015, bro. Then he misses nearly 2 years of action, while the fans that was booing him was going on with their life and career during the entire 585 days that he was battling to get back. 585 days, dog. He's enduring an elongated rehab process that is physically taxing, but it's extremely mentally taxing. And honestly, after seeing how people reacted to this, I feel like the average person just can't even begin to imagine what this is actually like. Everything is up in the air. It could be over. This is his life, his career. Hell, in many ways, this is his identity. And every single day he's rehabbing, he's fighting to maintain that, only to think he's back and then have a setback or get another injury and have to go through the whole process all over again. And he's got to be thinking like, will there ever be a time where I can do this at a high level like I used to be able to do it? And if I can, should I? You know what I'm saying? What do I have? 1-2 good years before I'm injured again? How is that going to affect the rest of my life? My body is already significantly damaged. Let me just say this for the cats that don't get it. At this point, he's living his day-to-day life with pain. All right? It's not just the Sunday that you see him. Oh, shoot the leg up. Sunday, you cool. What about Monday through Saturday? Every day. What about that? You think he don't care about the rest of his life? Yeah, he got married in March of this year. Oh, they announced she was pregnant in June of this year. Maybe he want to be able to move around like a normal parent and play with his kid that's on the way. Maybe he want to do that. Maybe he want to do that more than he want to come and throw a goddamn football and get smashed every Sunday. Now, he love coming out here throwing this football. He really does. It's very important. But above that is his actual life, his actual family, his actual health. So it's gonna hurt him to have to leave this, but for him, it's the only decision he can make because he gotta prioritize this. I seen cats on social media calling this man a quitter. If a plant worker worked at a plant for 10 years, breathing in bad chemicals, body was beat up, and then one day he's like, look man, I can't do this no more. I'm gonna have to walk away from this, I'm gonna retire. Would you boo him? Would he be considered a quitter. I saw this one tweet that tripped me out. Check this out. So this guy responds to a guy who was responding to something he said. He said, it's all business. You got to take care of you. This guy says, again, in the business world, yeah, take care of you so that you can take care of others. If he made this move for financial reasons, it'll be cool. But like I said, this isn't a business decision. He's leaving $58 million on the table. This is purely a personal decision to quit football. It looks like he's leaving his team hanging out to dry. So if it was a financial decision, it would be cool if he was making a decision for money. But because he's making a decision for his own personal health, it's not cool. Like, this is what we live at, bro. This is what we live at. After all dude put his body through, the success he brought to this franchise, he laid it out there every Sunday. He was always the consummate professional. After all that, his body betrays him. He's forced to retire. And you make his final moment one that's probably gonna haunt him for the rest of his life. After you literally bleed for something like that and then the fans treat you like that. In my opinion, it's clown behavior. The thing that upset me the most about it is because dude was such a stand-up guy, you know? He was such a stand-up guy. You would think at least a guy like that would get love. Basically, man, I just hate to see a guy being treated like this. It was completely undeserved. And I'm sure in his mind, he thought he was doing the right thing. And never in his wildest dreams did he think he would be treated like that. I respect Andrew Luck, and honestly, bro, the Colts fans, they need to make this right. Y'all got to do better. That's all I got for you, man. One.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go